of the program, we'll be talking about leadership and creating the right environment for leaders, also how to prepare them for the workforce. And we'll be also discussing African women, because African women are leaders, and today was the inaugural session of the 28th African Union Summit taking place in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and we have seen so many women taking place in the summit, and this reflects actually the power of African women as leaders. Today, my guest is engineer Noha Abdelaziz Kamel, and she is a HR professional. Thank you very much, Mrs. Noha, for coming today to Women's World. And let's start by asking you about the importance of creating leaders to work in a proper environment.
It's very important to really concentrate and focus on leaders, because leaders are our future, you know. As we always say, generations really prepare other generations. So this is our generation nowadays, and we're preparing the next generation. The next generation should be future leaders.
Okay.
Not only managers, not only people in high positions. Leaders meaning people who know how to make the right decisions, who are in the right place, who really do critical thinking, who are innovative and creative in the work they do, who can run a team in a very smooth way.
Okay.
You know?
Again,
So,
this is running a team is part of the challenges that we face, because we are not used to working in teams. Perhaps the culture of individual work is more dominant here in Egypt. So nourishing this culture of work in a team is very important indeed.
This is very important, Tala, to start really working in teams. To work in teams, you need to build trust.
Okay.
Okay. Building trust is not only about character-based trust or skill-based trust. It's also about vulnerability-based trust.
Okay.
That is, when you do something, you know, something may be wrong, you'll say, okay, I did something wrong, stop, and you do it right, and everybody helps you. If you need support, you ask for support. This is vulnerability-based trust.
Okay.
So if you don't have that kind of trust in a team, there's something not going very well.
Okay.
And then there is healthy conflict. You need to have, you know, conflict between the healthy conflict. That is, conflict is important and it's necessary.
To stimulate competition.
Competition and diverse opinions.
Okay.
So healthy conflict is good. And after that, you need to be committed to the team. You know, the buy-in and the clarity, knowing what you have to do in work, and the clear plan of what you're doing. And then there is the accountability, being accountable for your work. This is very important. We somewhat lack the part of accountability in our organizations. It is about responsibility, about empowerment, empowering yourself to do the work that needs to be done.
Yes.
Even if you don't have the authority to do that, you know, you just do it. And then the accountability part and effective results at the end.
Okay.
Yes.
Speaking about empowerment, again, there has been a special emphasis on the empowerment of women and youth.
Yes.
And we are talking about leaders. Therefore, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi launched the Presidential Leadership Program, and actually so many youth were part of, took part in it. And also we have seen the conferences with youth. We have seen the latest conference with youth in Aswan a few days ago. Yes. And therefore there is this very strong emphasis by the leadership on creating young leaders for the future. Of course, they will not be leaders now, but it's preparing the youth, preparing the young people to be future decision makers and future leaders. The process of creating leaders, how long would it take?
Oh, that's that depends on the people's willingness to do that. You know,
I think if they are willing, I see the Egyptian youth are willing. They have this strong will.
The willingness is very important, and of course, our Egyptian youth are very energetic.
Yes,
they're very creative. They have a lot of ideas and, you know, stamina to do a lot of things.
Yes.
But they need to be put in the right channel. Yes. The right channel is preparing them to plan, because they're really very excited and, you know, they want to achieve everything very quickly.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. But then you need the experience with planning. Only very few people plan for what they're going to do.
Yes.
So after planning, they need to start executing and someone coaching them. They need mentors and
Yes.
coaches.
Yes.
You see, because you can't just put people, young people, in high positions and ask them to be very good in decision making and not make mistakes. And this is very critical. You need to prepare them for the future, and preparation needs experience.
Okay.
So here comes the elder ages to give them the experience, because millennials in general, and these are statistics, when they work and they're very excited about their work, they need to have challenges in their work.
Yes.
You know, not just okay, I'm here in this type of work and I'm getting paid very well and so on. This is not enough for them. They need challenges. They need to be creative and innovative, and to have space and to have flexibility of work. Give me what I'm going to do and
Flexibility
leave
means
me
flexibility in the deadline or
Yes.
in the variety of tasks that
in
I'm
the
given.
task that
Yeah.
you can do to meet the deadline. Just
Okay.
give them deadlines and they'll do the job, and coach them and mentor them and so on.
Yes.
If you're going to prepare a good leader, I'll tell you the whole plan, because you don't reinvent.
The formula.
Yeah,
Let's
you don't
say.
reinvent the wheel. The wheel has
Yes.
been already invented. So
Okay.
we'll take all the tools from what other people have done and research, and then we'll apply them.
Okay.
So Kozes and Postner, in a book called Leadership Challenge, they did research for 20 years, 20 years research. And this has been on for like 30 years now. So their research included Egypt and it included Kuwait
Good.
and other countries. They did this research, and then they realized that to have a good leader, he needs to be a role model,
Okay.
to model the way.
Okay.
That's the first thing. The second thing is inspire a shared vision. They need to have a vision of their own.
Okay.
Sometimes when you talk with youth, I've worked a lot with young people, and I love working with young people. It gives me so much energy. When you talk with them, they always want to do something very quickly, but they don't have the vision, the goal. Okay, why are you doing this?
Yes.
Then they don't know. Okay?
Okay.
So they need to have, to inspire a shared vision, have a vision of their own, and get people on board with them.
Okay.
And then they need to challenge the process. You don't have to do things the same way each and every time. Change
Yes.
your way.
Okay.
Do it in a better way. See what are the updates from abroad, and just do
And this
it.
includes brainstorming as well, because if you sit
course.
together and you think, each and every one thinks differently from the other, and perhaps this would bring you to a final result that is very creative.
And this is what we want. We want the diversity of opinions.
Yes.
If you and your manager always have the same opinions,
We're
one of
going
you is
nowhere.
not,
Yes.
needed. You need to have different opinions, and then have the right style of communication to communicate
Achieve the
this.
targets, yes.
And then after that, after challenging the process, you need to enable others to act.
Okay.
When you are a leader, give space to others around you. Give them space, give them the freedom to say their opinion, voice it out, to do work and then see the results. Give them
Okay.
space.
Okay.
You don't have to direct. Work nowadays and modern ways are not about directing.
Yes.
It's about creating an environment of
Communication.
friendly communication.
Yes.
To do the right work, to be
That's-
very productive.
That's very
And
important.
at the end, encourage the heart. Leaders have to encourage the heart. And the millennials and youth really like encouragement. They like appreciation.
Yes.
It's not enough to give them appreciation once, like elder generations. No, they need it all the time, all the time. I appreciate your work. You're doing great. Go on. Let's do this and do that.
Okay.
So these 5 practices are the very important 5 practices of leaders.
Okay. We've been talking about youth. Now, I would like to focus the talk here about women, because women
Yes.
are leaders by
course.
nature. Even if they are not in an organization or so, they are leaders in their houses. They can perform multitasks. They are decision makers, and so they have this power to be leaders. And I believe that African women in general, and Egyptian women in particular, have this leadership skills born with them. Don't you agree?
I totally agree.
How can we use the experience of Africa in creating leaders? Because there are a lot of leaders in Africa, women leaders, presidents. In some African countries, they constitute more than 50% of members of parliament. So they are leaders and they are decision makers. How can we here in Egypt make use of the African experience in this regard, creating leaders?
The African experience is a great experience, and they have cooperated with us through our office here in Egypt and in the USA. And we've done a lot of work with them these past few months. The thing is that the tool is very simple. What we did with the African leaders over there is that we did a workshop. It is an emotional intelligence workshop for women, and this is very important. What is emotional intelligence for women? Concentrating on your awareness, how much you're aware of your feelings, of your emotions, because as a leader, you need to be very aware of your emotions. Okay? You cannot go out of control in that area. So you need to be aware of your emotions, and you need to regulate these emotions. That's self-regulation, and these are the 5 emotional intelligence, competencies of Daniel Goleman. So just giving tribute to him. And after that, regulating these emotions and then motivating yourself to do the work you're doing. Personally and professionally, women are stressed out everywhere.
Yes.
They do the work inside their, their houses and in their work, and they also like to keep always the communication open with their teams. When they did it, statistics for women leaders and male leaders, and men are all about tasks, okay, complete this task, do this, do that. Women are more about relationships. Okay, I'll do this task.
As well.
Yes, of course.
Multitasks, actually.
Both. They do the task and they like to maintain relationships. Okay, so this is just a little difference between...
Because they have this emotional aspect to them.
Of course. Women leaders are powerful leaders, actually. And the percentage of women leaders is huge all over the world.
Yes.
Okay, even abroad, in the USA and Europe.
Yes.
So, coming back to the emotional intelligence competencies, after the awareness, the regulation, the motivation, and then the empathy. Women leaders are very empathetic. Empathy meaning I really want, I'm putting myself in your place and, understanding your situation, listening very well, effective listening, and trying to help you do whatever you want to do and overcoming your challenges. And then after all that, you come to effective relationships. This is what we all strive for.
Yes.
Women leaders, male leaders, they strive for effective relationships. Effective relationships meaning relationships that last even beyond the workplace, even beyond personal, Yes. So even if you're in this kind of work and you go to another workplace, you have your relationships with you.
Yes.
You maintain good relationships.
Okay.
So these are the main tools for, and of course we give a lot of tools pertaining to all these competencies.
But you applied
for
this
women.
on African women
yes,
in particular in a research, I believe, that you conducted.
And we started it here in Egypt too.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you take examples of African women in your study? Tell me more about it.
What we did is that we used a psychometric assessment at the beginning too. It is about True Colors. True Colors International is a psychometric assessment to define which type of person you are.
Okay.
There are 4 colors. They're green. Just a simple explanation. Green, blue, and gold, and orange. Okay. And whatever type of character you are, you start speaking the language, You start communicating with other languages because each and every one of us have the 4 colors.
Yes.
But a dominant one and a somewhat faded color.
Yes.
So some people, like gold people, are very oriented, to structure, time, organizing, and so on. Orange people are all about dynamics and energy and so on. blue people are about emotions and, you know, meaning of things, and green people are about problem solving and depth in analysis. So these all colors are in each and every one of us.
Okay.
So when you know which color you are, you can communicate better. This is the assessment we did over there in Africa.
Okay.
And they have a quite balanced, you know, set of colors.
But what is very distinguished about African women also is that they have this support by men. I mean, the society looks up to African women as real leaders. I mean,
Yes.
not just women, but really. That's why they have this huge percentage of women as leaders, as members of parliament, as presidents, as members of governments, ministers, and so on and so forth. I mean, we took a look today at the African Summit, and I have seen so many women,
Yes.
so many
Yes.
women, African women taking part in this summit.
Because women are concerned about the society.
Yes,
You know,
they have
leaders-
hands-on also
Yes.
on the problems of society.
The really powerful and effective organizations care for societies. And women care for societies. This is very important for women. You know, their community to be going well and everything going really fine. And for women as leaders, this is a main concern for them.
Yes.
You know, so basically we really need to go on, and I have a unique point of view in that matter, Hela.
Okay.
I'm concerned about not really talking a lot about what women can do. Just let's go ahead and do it. You know, just take action in each and every place. Start working. Women work, and a lot of women work without, you know, talking a lot. So
Yes.
we really need to move on with working and working and working, developing each other, developing, and you know, women always support each other.
It's true. It's very true. Yes.
So we just go ahead and, you know, start the work.
Well, let's start doing that. Actually, it's a very important topic that we're discussing today. I wish we had more time, Sgheda, to talk about, but let me thank you very much. Mrs. Noha Abdelaziz Kamel, thank you very much for coming today and shedding more light on the importance of creating leaders, especially women leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hela. Thank
And
you very much.
thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us in this edition of Women's World. I'm Hala Al-Hamalawi signing off.